welcome back today, guys, to the channel. We're here over at TMP Cayuga for the ToppDrift's first event of the season. I ended up driving the car there. I didn't end up renting a trailer for this event. It was about 45 minutes away, so I figured, right, I'd just drive it there. I just packed all the wheels into the car for the day, right? Of course, I wasn't planning on, going full send on day one of the drift season, and I ended up getting there, swapped my rear wheels over. The line was massive. It was really cool to see all the cars in line and everybody out there, but what really was the issue, though, was the weather conditions and the track conditions. It was a little cold, it was windy. If you happened to go off track, you needed a tow to get back on. There was just no way you were getting through the grass. It rained for about 2 days prior to this event, so the grass on the outside, the dirt, super soft if you went out there. Of course, not the best conditions for opening weekend, but everybody made it work. The track staff there was incredible, having to deal with everybody going off track, the dirt on track. You'll see a couple clips where they're sweeping the tracks as well too, right? So shout out TMP track staff out there, just doing their job all day around. Got in line for my first session of the day, really hoping for a good one. I didn't know what to expect in terms of how many cars were going to be out there, considering the line was huge. Wow. So first corner of this session, I see somebody off track, right? Just a little bit intimidating, right? Seeing somebody out there, hoping that I'm not going to be the next one. Unfortunately, I thought I got all the garbage out the car. I really did. Unfortunately, that one flew out, right? I got the look like, come on, man. I'm so sorry, man. Feeling out the car, seeing how it was going to feel. I did have the work VSKFs on the front of the car, ran at 235s on the rear, and a lot of it at the start was yellow flags. Trying to, play with the car a little bit as I can, through these small sessions. Or right here, I tried to throw it a little bit, understeered heavily. Always a great thing to see. Negative 50% confidence for sure on that one. I don't know if I just too much, turn in. I mean, the front work wheels have seen quite a few events, so they're not the grippiest of tires out there anymore.
Alright. Really slippery on the track though.
Right, so they definitely weren't, the freshest of tires out there, if you will. But of course, again, it's cold. We haven't really drove too much also too, so they're not really warm yet also, right? So they haven't really got a chance to really heat up and do their thing. Right, so lap 6, second gear. Haven't yet got into third gear on this straight. I did end up doing it by the end of day, which was awesome to see. It just comes down to seat time, practicing, getting a feel for the car. And unfortunately, today didn't go exactly to plan. We will see a little bit later on. I was showcasing on Twitter or something like that. We did have a off-track oopsie, which kind of resulted in the front work wheels being no longer on the vehicle. But it kind of was a blessing in disguise, if you will, because I had a lot more grip and confidence with the other wheels on the car. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later, probably on next episode. But for this one here, this was just the work VSKFs on the front, session number 1 out there. And we actually ended up going out there for, I think, like 17 minutes on the first outing. And again, you can see, though, track staff, look at it. They are sweeping mud, grass, and that's thick mud. I had some of it on the car earlier. It is thick mud. Definitely hats off to the track staff. Lap number 9, not enough speed here on initiation, I felt like, and ended up just kind of not even trying to swing it. So I don't know why I wasn't trying to incorporate what I learned last season. Again, it's the very first event.
Front tires are not gripping at all.
Not really feeling as confident as I wanted to on these front tires. I didn't feel like I was going to be able to hook up. It's also at lower speeds. If I got the car up to the speed that I wanted, it felt pretty good, and I was happy with that. But when I went down to the lower speeds, the steering didn't feel the best. It felt very kind of clunky, and it would kind of pull the wheel a lot, especially with the work VSKFs that are on there. They're a little bit heavier, I feel like, right? So of course it just takes that differently on the power steering. Bigger wheels, bigger rotation, it feels heavier on the steering rack. Lap 10, this was a good lap. I'll let you guys just kind of watch this lap here. the back end all day. Definitely felt good to link that, especially with the way that the car was feeling. I needed to link something just to kind of get the hang of it, and you know, now I'm starting to kind of toss it. I can see that more, and I'm really happy that I film all these runs to look back and see what I did and didn't do in these situations. And if you drive for any, you know, kind of level, even if you're just starting out, definitely invest in, you know, a $200 GoPro session. That's all it really takes. Get a 64 gig SD card and you're good to go. Bring a battery supply just in case it dies out. You can charge it mid-session when you go out, and you have this footage to go back on and look. Because let's be honest, when you're out there, you're in the moment. You don't really have time to think about what you're doing. So the fact that I can go back and watch what I'm doing is really valuable information for me. And, you know, again, I had to battle the track all day long, just, you know, seeing what everybody else was doing, especially in the beginning of the day. That was one of the biggest things. People were going off the track everywhere at the start of the day, and it was a little bit, you know, interesting to see everybody as far as they would go out sometimes. They must have been carrying some big speed around some of these corners, and it just seems like they were just locking up, and once you got into the grass, you were going in the grass, and there was no stopping it. Mainly that was my goal of the day. Do not get towed out of the grass. I did not want to put my front toe strap to use on there. Just trying to get some good runs in. Trying to get consistency. Lap 12 coming around here. Felt pretty good on the car temps. Everything looked good. Of course, we just had the oil cooler installed, so I didn't feel like heating or temperature was going to be an issue with the car. It was just a matter of driver skill at this point and the front steering alignment. Obviously, with these works, they're so big, and like I said, that, you know, it feels weird sometimes driving with the bigger wheels, right? But I did end up grouping up with a couple cars here. This back corner, though, a little bit later in the day, when you catch some good speed, I was ripping third gear coming around here, and then, right, it was a good session. We ended up pulling it in. We did a couple. It ended up going to a red flag on there, so we had to call it a quit on that lap and drag it in. Pulling it back in to the pits there. We did have Sharpen with us in the passenger seat. Shout out Chris out there for helping out through the day. Right, and then we also ended up having Josh out there as well too. We have a couple runs with him a little bit later. I don't think in this episode. I do have a bunch more footage to go through that I'm going to post probably either later today or tomorrow. If you guys do want to see more, right, slap that like button down below. Definitely do appreciate it. Session number 2. We're coming through. This is where it's going to get interesting for this, and it kind of is an interesting series of events that I didn't end up really noticing until I watch back the footage. Now, this 370Z in front of me here, this is a nice car. It's quick. It's a little bit faster than mine is, especially probably in second gear. He's probably just burning tires, no problem. I'm kind of, right, I'm out here trying to swing it a little bit, and you're going to see it ends up causing some issues for me a little bit later in these laps. Start off, we didn't really even get to heat the tires up. Yellow flag for a good chunk. We're out here cruising the track. We're behind the 370. Not doing very much, and this is what I kind of noticed, right? I mean, tires aren't really hot. We're out here. I even stopped. We're on the back straight here, stopped, waiting for the cars to get towed out of the grass. We end up moving a little bit. I probably should have went by him, but I wanted to get behind him. It was just a nice car. I'm sitting here behind him waiting, right? We're both just kind of in this kind of train. We're just kind of doing our own thing, and this is where it gets a little bit hectic, and this is a little bit embarrassing to watch back, but unfortunately we have to watch his back to see where it goes wrong, and this is it. This is where it ends up going wrong, and all that work that I had.
Fuck me, mate.
Good start?
Yeah, we're still on.
So let's get a quick rewind on this situation here. It really made sense once I watched the footage back. Now we're going to freeze right here. Right, so the car transitioned as much as it wanted to at the speed that I was at, and then I asked it for more angle. So when it tried to transition back, it just felt weird on the transition, and the wheel didn't spin the way that I felt it was going to. My hand even got kind of caught on the wheel with what was happening, and the car took on water out here. It was not good.
Fuck me, mate.
Good start?
Yeah, we're still on. But we're smoking though.
That's just water.
Yeah.
Not the ideal situation. I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I was like, wow, my hour-and-a-half job out in the garage last night of, right, I had the chemical guys out in the garage spraying the wrap down, cleaning it up with the chamois, all to drop it in a puddle and have that hour-and-a-half just go down the tubes out here because the car was a disaster. Like, we got water in the car, mud is all over it. And I'm just trying to get the mud off the rear tires. And now this is where I kind of should have been a little bit more cautious. Was trying to just clear off the rear tires and slide this corner a little bit.
Probably should check it out.
I think you might have lost a tire.
Ooh. Yeah, I think you're right. Probably my front. Yikes. Which one?
Yeah, you lost your front tire.
Fuck. Am I on rim?
Not yet.
Okay.
Tire's still on. It's just...
I got my other wheels I can throw on.
And at this point in time, I'm just thinking, I'm like,
fucking
please, no damage to the wheel. We brought it and I could hear it. It doesn't sound good. Look at that, jeez. First reaction, not the happiest seeing the car the way that it is.
Looks good. Yeah, you're not on rim. That's good. Up the rim. Just, I think DB did the tire. Yeah.
Thankfully, we were right at the pits basically when this all happened because that would have sucked to drive back the entire time and probably would have ended up maybe on the rim by the time we got back there. So we didn't do any damage to the face of the wheel, but the issue became the damage on the inside of the wheel, which was the biggest problem. So it didn't look very much, right? We tried to air it back up, which ended up holding air, which was interesting, but it didn't hold it for very long. Not the way I wanted to start out this season opener. Part 1, Part 2 is on its way. Huge thanks for watching. Slap a like on this episode if you guys did enjoy it. Huge thanks for watching. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.